Want to stop juggling spreadsheets, calendars, and a dozen apps just to run your rentals? Lodgify makes it easy. It's an all-in-one toolkit for hosts. Build a direct booking website, automate guest messaging, and keep all your channels in sync. Running your rental business your way has never been simpler. And for Good Morning Hospitality listeners, you can get 20% off any yearly plan with code GMH20. Just check the link in the show notes to get started today.
Welcome to Good Morning Hospitality, your one-stop shop for the latest news, noteworthy trends, and thought-provoking discussions across the industry. From hotels and short-term rentals to all things travel and hospitality, you'll find each episode equips you with the information that you need to start your week. Join us on Good Morning Hospitality every Monday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Let's go. Look at this go-getter happy Monday crew. I'm here for it. I'm loving it. Brandy's got that early morning, that EME, baby.
Yeah, I finally recovered. I got leveled by the flu, like absolutely leveled. So
Brandy, do you
I have
think
all
there's
the energy now.
You think there's a reason, you're constantly traveling, working a crap ton of hours, probably not, taking care of yourself the way you should?
Oh yeah, you mean running my immune system into the ground? Yeah, that probably had something to do with it.
Treat yourself.
So
Treat
yeah.
yourself. Yeah. Anything fun this weekend or last week since we all saw each other last?
It was I was down in New Orleans, Brandy's other city. My brother turned 40. So I'm getting old. I'm not 40 myself.
You're close behind, huh?
But had a good time. Yeah, haven't stayed up past midnight in a hot minute.
Unless it was like changing a diaper or putting
I
someone
haven't
back to bed.
purposely stayed up. Yes, past midnight. Definitely been
Very
up past
fun.
midnight many times.
Yeah. Very
How about you, Will? I think you might have had the most exciting work week out of the three of us.
It was a great week last week. Not gonna lie. After 2.5 weeks in Florida and then 3 days home in Denver and then off to New York City, the Skift STR Summit was awesome. I didn't know what to expect for my first, Skift conference or event, but I think I told you guys in our private chat, quality of people was great. It's not like there was hundreds and hundreds of people. I think there's probably 250, 300. The quality of the sessions was actually really good. You guys know me, I never attend a session, but I attended probably, if there was 10, I probably attended 9 out of 10. I think I missed one due to overextending my lunch to chat with a couple of people I haven't seen in a while, but really good event. So I know we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the content and discussions that were there, but yeah, it was a really good conference. Really successful. And the team at Skift was great. I got to meet a lot of the team and really fun people.
That's awesome. I mean, that's high praise coming from you for a conference. So must have been.
I know. It's been rough in the conference space out there. So to finally see a good one that's refreshing with good content and good attendance and quality of attendance, I think, it's a good combo. It's a good combo.
Comparing Verma and Skift is night and day, huh?
Very much so. Very much so. Especially because I came from Executive Summit. Not that Executive Summit was bad. I didn't attend any of the sessions. Again, I was trying to record and do some business, but I think it was a very different crowd and a really refreshing perspective.
Yeah, conferences, it comes down to people, but unless the format is conducive for people to intermingle and have lots of time together, then that's really the structure of a conference is everything.
For sure.
And
Agreed.
you want to suck everybody into a vacuum for the main discussions, but then you also want to give plenty of time to network and see old friends and meet new people. So,
well, that's the thing. The sessions were 20 minutes long and they're data packed. Like everyone had slides and things to back up their statements. And it wasn't a festival of this is why my company is so great. And if you're a property manager, you need to sign up today and scan this QR code to get your free demo.
It wasn't just one big sales pitch.
Yeah, it wasn't. That was the nice part. And yeah, we'll obviously talk about some of the stuff. Yeah, pay to play. So it was refreshing to see that. It was just okay, I have a lot of people who walked away with good value. So yeah, we'll talk about more on the episode, but really good stuff. Good job, Skift. Great work. So, okay, now we have some other things to cover before we get into all the nitty gritty. What, Brandy? Do you want to go first?
Yeah, Brandy,
no. You're like, we have some other things to cover, and I'm like, yes, we do.
Tell us how your weekend really was, Brandy.
Yeah.
Well, aside from dying from the flu, we had a pretty much portfolio-wide like disruption to all of our ACS controls. So ACS is your access control system that opens all of your front doors. So I know a lot of our listeners, you have your single family vacation homes, but if anyone operates a multifamily building or building that has some sort of common front door and you have access controls, the company that does ours, they have like an entire system-wide glitch. I won't shout them out, but if other people in the multifamily space have this company, they also experience this glitch, and so we just had like panic. And we have some locations where it wouldn't be the end of the world if for like at night we like unlocked the door and left it open, but we're an urban operator. You can't leave like the front door open. So we had to try to figure out a workaround. We had to some cases call in 24/7 front desk, which literally just meant someone sitting there and watching the door open and close. And so it's it's a bit of a fire drill. It was also supposed to be like a calm weekend, so we had like some people had taken time off because it was like not supposed to be busy. Of course, you have this like and I was absolutely dying. So it was it was
You gonna
stressful.
bill that back to the provider?
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
love.
Seriously.
But it just kind of goes to show like in these networks, like you obviously it makes most sense to have like wouldn't make sense for like every single building to have a different like front door control provider. But then when your whole market is so dependent on one provider and something happens, you're just really kind of like caught with your pants down a little bit because the solutions are incredibly expensive and labor intensive. It literally just means like manning the doors 24/7. So
Yeah.
that was a bit of a fire drill. Luckily, our team was able to like get the kind of like the reboot option and like go through and do everything, but it takes a while and you don't know right away, like, is this just an issue with this one door? And like, it's just the door malfunctioning. And then it kind of took a little while to realize like the crux of the problem. So that was fun.
A couple of years ago, it was in Miami. It wasn't one of your buildings, but I checked into this hotel and they were completely new age. Front desk was, at the bar. They checked you in on the iPad. They gave you the code, and you'd walk up and put your code in the room. The problem was the internet in the area was out, and so nothing worked. They couldn't check me in, which meant they couldn't give me a key code. They were too new age. They didn't have like a hard manual key entry. And so they're like, yeah, just, I guess, come back in an hour. And I came back in an hour, nothing there. Came back 3 hours later and it was finally up again. So the technology does fail. And I mean, it happened when I was at NoiseAware. We had network outages. It was rare, but when it happened, it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it's totally out of your control. Like you're like, you just have to try to figure out the solution as fast as possible. But like, you can't control like Comcast
Wi-Fi
having an outage in your area, whatever. So
YouTube has had outages, right? Like Google Ads has had outages. So if the small companies can, the big companies do as well. And that's an important topic. What happens if Airbnb goes down for a week or a few days or even
a couple hours,
jumbles up your payments or your revenue or your bookings? Like just a small error, like a front door access. Now people are sending wrong addresses to everybody through Airbnb's system. What a mess that would be.
That would be a nightmare.
Well, and so I was watching this Netflix documentary about Ashley Madison and like that like big data breach that happened, and it just got me thinking because we were planning on talking about this. Is like just how much information you have on all of these sites just to create your profile, right? And
Mhm.
it's like that stuff gets out. So and in that documentary, they had like pretty much no security. So I kind of trust Airbnb to have a little bit more security than they did. But it just like, yeah, it's all very precarious, and like little blips can have huge ripple effects. So yeah, we talk about like obviously technology is key to running your business, but you also kind of have to have some like analog safeguards in case these things go down.
Yeah,
If this goes down, what do we do?
Exactly.
Exactly. I want to know for the listeners, I know we have a couple live viewers tuning in right now across LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and a couple other places. Let us know. Do you fully depend on one technology? And if it went down, would you be caught with your pants down? Want to know. Do you have a spread out technology tech stack?
Has your
Speaking
website
of
ever
getting,
gone down?
yeah, seriously.
I
It's
think
too funny.
we've all experienced it either firsthand or secondhand.
Yeah.
Whether it's our tech going down or our tech has gone down on us, but it can, depending on the provider, can have a major effect. So good to have some backup plans, and that's also back to the OTA side. That's where diversification matters. So
Yeah.
100%. 100%. And Terry White says, I learned the hard way. Do not use Wi-Fi tech to use cell tower tech. Interesting. Good hot take. Hot take, Terry. Hot take by Terry White. I love it. I love it. Well, speaking of getting caught with your pants down, the one thing you shouldn't get caught with your pants down on is your amenities. And so when you are having guests check in, guess what? You should have a fully stocked pantry, fully stocked bathroom and kitchen, laundry, etc. through Sojo. Sojo powers this podcast just like they power short-term rental operators to take the peace of mind away from the operations and allowing your housekeeping team and anybody else involved to fully stock your home so that way your guests have a great experience. So go to getsojo.com/GMH, grab the link in the show note. You won't regret it. You'll get 30 days for free and amazing little sample packs. They're all nicely organized for your housekeepers. You can't complain about that because we all love a good organized housekeeping closet. So there you go. And yes, thank you, Mike, for the amazing segue
Yeah,
compliment.
Will, you
Appreciate
are
it.
the segue king. And I have to say, I'm on Tuesday, my boyfriend and I are going to Spain for a wedding, and I found a whole bunch of my Sojo toiletries, like the travel ones. And so he now has a whole new set for our trip.
Look
And I was
at
like, look,
him.
the gift that keeps on giving. So we'll be repping Sojo while abroad.
I love that. I love that. And
international
Chris, I would
fun.
yeah, I would love to know, Christopher, I would love to know for your credit card system, are you at a hotel? Are you checking in people like in real life? This is new to me. We take payment virtually, so
This has
whenever.
happened to me as well. That same
Okay.
check-in process, the credit card system was down longer than the check-in, than the Wi-Fi was for some reason.
Mm,
So they had to like manually write my room number down, and I was eating dinner in their restaurant that night, and they came and grabbed my credit card while I was eating to run it for the room. So
jeez.
yeah, not a great hospitality experience.
Yeah. No, not at all.
But not, I
Not
mean,
at all.
to some extent, not their fault. They should have a backup plan in those cases, though.
Yeah. I
Those
remember
old
my
like the files, like where you put the card down on the paper, like you do like the carbon copy.
yeah, yeah. Well, see, I remember like my hotel days. We at the last hotel that I was managing, it was a 70-unit condominium hotel. And literally in the back office, we had this binder like that thick and had 2 copies of every room key. So in case of our power went out, in case the card maker went down, literally we would have a copy and it would be all labeled by room number. And it was a brutal process because I did have to use that thing one day and it did save my ass. So I was thankful it was there, but I was like, holy crap, having to rekey every one of them after that really sucked. It was bad. Yeah. So Chris says he was part of a franchise. Their web-based PMS was down for 24 hours.
I hope it was a
Yikes.
boutique hotel, not a 250 key
Yeah,
conference center.
seriously. Yikes. Okay, so there was a topic. This kind of comes into multiple things from kind of like the Skift STR Summit, but Brandy, so Inspirato, public markets, not doing so hot for hospitality. And then you have Guesty, who we all know of, we've talked about, we've had Vered on the show for their acquisition of Rentals United. They want to go public. They've stated that pretty publicly, no pun intended. And it's not a great market for public companies in our industry, specifically Inspirato, Vacasa, Saunders, etc. The only ones that are doing really well, I'd say, are Marriott, Hilton, the long big brand names. So what's your
and the platform, the OTAs?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Yeah, and the OTA.
Well, we'll give that.
Well, I
We'll
think
give them some credit, but
that's just it. Is like the operators. Well, with all of these that went public via SPAC, I think that's just kind of part of like the separate SPAC conversation of those not doing well, probably because they didn't have the financial strength to do so in the first place.
SPAC
And
babies.
SPAC babies aren't
I
doing
wish
so
I had a
well.
red
And
flag that I could just wave.
yeah,
I need to
yeah.
get one.
And so, I mean, it's painful. I mean, watching like Sonder, for example, or Inspirato try to struggle with like they've made this bed, like they're a publicly traded company, and they're trying to save their business through whatever means possible. But I don't see how these operators turn it around and become a success story. I also think it's a very difficult landscape. The public markets, I don't think, are very forgiving to our business model, especially when a lot of them, like Vacasa, for example, when they went public, their growth targets were like absolutely unachievable. And so, like kind of they were all set up in this house of cards that is kind of crumbling right now. And I can't really speak to the inner workings at Inspirato, but they're probably doing the best that they can with what they have at the moment, but it doesn't look rosy. But on the flip side for that, it's guess it's too early to really talk about anything concrete about Guesty going public. But I would say if that's, in the next year or two, if that is what makes sense for them, then I would have higher hopes because it's tech. Like, I think from the operator side, that's where it's really, really tough. And, but for the tech side, it's I don't know, you could swap out the industry that they're in for any other industry. You still have like solid tech, you know what I mean? So it's a better public play, I would say. And I mean, they're valued at almost $1 billion already. Like the next step up is kind of the public markets.
Well, just to say a quick comment on what Ami had said on stage at Skift was, they want to go public, but they don't need to, in the sense of if it's not a right market, it's not a right market. They won't do it to do it. The last round they raised was not for that they needed it. It was all for acquisition. They're close to profitability, which I know we all know that every company that isn't profitable says to,
we're so close. We're almost there.
We're almost there. Yeah. But like, that was nice to hear that it wasn't just like, we need to go public. Like, this is it. He did talk about, the acquisition funding is what I'm basically calling it. Their Series F. This was all for acquisition, but going public does allow them to have more access to cash and to continue development and to continue his mission of consolidation, which he talks about a lot, whether it's on Skift's stage or multiple other podcasts and other platforms. They do want to consolidate our industry. Guesty does think that there's too many PMSs. There's too many of one tech provider, or there's too many tech providers across multiple categories, and consolidation is kind of their mission. So it's bullish. I'll say that. It's very, very big, because I think you look at other people and they kind of disagree. They think we need more innovation and more of this and more of that, and so consolidation hurts that.
I'm in the pro consolidation camp. This space needs a bit of consolidation. It's already happened to a pretty big extent on the vendor side. I think Vicasa's shown the consolidation route doesn't always mean success. But I wouldn't have been surprised if it was a good IPO market, if Guesty would have just gone ahead and IPO'd now versus whatever this $110 million
30.
gets them in the of runway. I wouldn't guess it's all for acquisitions. Of course, there's still OpEx tied in there. But I am excited to see what other acquisitions they have, because he wouldn't be saying this is purely for acquisitions if there weren't more behind Booking Pal, because I can't imagine Booking Pal would have, or not
No,
Booking Pal,
Reynolds United.
Yeah, come on.
I can't imagine Reynolds United cost that much. Hopefully not, for Guesty's sake. But I'm with them. I'd love to see more and more consolidation. I'd love to see it from more than one party, though, just so there's not a singular giant.
Guesty on the shopping spree.
Yeah. Well, it's like, come on, Hostaway and all these other PMSs that had 175 million, 130. Like, come on, start rolling these things up. Let's get creative. Give us some more news. Give us some more news cycles. Come on.
Yeah, think about our content.
Exactly. Awesome. So that's a really good one. Okay, so I think the next piece we talked about was kind of some of the stuff that actually was talked about on stage at Skift. Where do you guys want to start? I shared with you prior to this. Do you want to go?
Yeah,
I can kind of go off the last comment you made, Brandy, but I'll wait to hear what you say.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say I really loved Carl Shepard's comments. So why don't you kind of like talk about what you heard at the conference, because I have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah. Well, first off, for all our listeners, you should go back if you haven't heard the episode that we had Tim Rosolio on, who's the VP of property management, like partnerships and success and all this other stuff at Verbo. He's the head of Verbo, basically. He's a king over there. It was funny. He was sitting in front of me, and Carl Shepard literally made a comment. It's like, I never will book on VRBO, is what he called it, or Verbo. And then any other OTA, like I will always book directly if I can. And then I just see Tim go like just kind of make the face like, what the heck? Which is hilarious.
For those that don't know Carl Shepard, he was the founder of HomeAway, which then became Verbo. So
yeah,
he's basically saying he wouldn't use his own platform.
Exactly.
He's like, listen, I made my money and I have my money, and now I'm gonna choose to spend it differently. Cheaper to direct. Imagine that.
Exactly. So that was kind of funny to hear. But then he made comments. So Brandy, I would love to know what comments specifically you were thinking about, because I have a couple other ones that really stood out.
Yeah, so he was saying that Airbnb like finally is prioritizing the individual hosts, and I thought that really stuck out to me, because I'm like, they've always been prioritizing the individual hosts. And then the way I was reading this is that he had it kind of segmented even further than like hosts versus professional operators. It's like there's professional operators, and then kind of like professional hosts, and then the individual operator, which I guess is taking to mean like
a hobby host.
Like the homeowner doing their own home or guest house or something like that. And so that was like an interesting, I thought, like a further like bifurcation of like the different types of hosts on Airbnb, because I think they've always been more favorable towards at least the smaller host, we could say, like the Airbnb only host. And so I thought that was just interesting that he's like, finally, they're getting the attention. And I'm like, finally. But then he also touches on standardization. And we've been kind of touching on this too, how like with standardization, especially with the kind of brand that Airbnb has been building, you do lose those like touches of the of the host that Airbnb really likes to promote and does make for a better guest experience. So it really, it also touches on the problem that like no one in our industry has really figured out a way to standardize while keeping some of like the soul of hosting people, while maintaining the quality, all of that. And I don't think anyone's really solved it. And we talk about franchising as like a possible solution to that, but I still don't think that anyone has really nailed that in our industry the way that hotels have.
Yeah, so the kind of comments around there on stage specifically were pretty interesting, because standardization doesn't mean you have to lose uniqueness. Every home is individual, especially if you're on the single family side, but standardizing certain things are provided, right? In the kitchen, the bedroom, the bathroom, etc. which was a great comment. But then he also talked about, like their Evolve and Vacasa and Turnkey, like they all have gotten to a certain level of home inventory or yeah, and the amount of units that they have under management. And no one has been able to really break that barrier. And I think he specifically mentioned, the 35,000, right? Like 35,000, especially Evolve. Evolve was on stage. Brian, one of the co-founders and CEO, was talking about, they are at that level still. They're, 300 or 35,000 homes. They do have, local operators. Carl Shepard even made a comment about Vicasa's change after the last earning call, saying like, we're not going to do central operations. We're actually going to let the local destinations manage their own ops and even most of their financials and revenue management and other things like that with the back end support of headquarters, the corporate office. So interesting to see if that will play. But then Carl really did shift into the one thing that we should have learned from the hotels is like the way they were able to standardize is that they don't own all their assets. They let franchises come in or owners come in. They give them the standards to follow. If they don't meet those standards, they remove the flag, right? There's like kind of a 3-strike system with a franchise or even when I worked at Marriott, it was an autograph collection. So it was owned, operated individually, but you're able to be a part of a unique collection that followed the Marriott standards, but had a little bit of a different, it wasn't exact. It wasn't like a franchise where we paying franchise fees. So
Yeah, I love when he was like, "You should just fire your owners." And I like there's there's some of these buildings, so I'm like, there's some owners where, you'd love to be like, "Hey, like reinvesting in your property is not optional." But that isn't always an option. But
yeah,
Yeah. I think that's a benefit a big company has where a small company you have to take some revenue. So if the property's bad enough, you would drop it, Brandy, but it's not bad enough, right? Or the owner's not bad enough to deal with. And there are times that you need to drop your owners or your buildings or whatever because I saw Ngati give this presentation probably 8 years ago, but if you do quadrants, there's good home producing properties or revenue producing properties that are good owners. There's good revenue producing properties with bad owners. There's great owners that don't produce great revenue. And then there's bad owners with bad revenue. Cut that last quadrant as fast as you can. And then focus on shifting, bad revenue, good owners into good revenue, or coaching the bad owners with great properties and getting them kind of in line with what you have going on. So, and Gotti, that one stuck with me for ages. Shout out.
yeah, what a good presentation. Like 8 years later, you're still quoting it. That's a good sign.
Visuals matter, right?
Yeah.
It's true. It's very true. Well, that was a really good one. And then my second favorite was Jennifer from Homes and Villas. Shout out, you crushed it on stage. Really good insights into the platform. I was messaging you guys in our full group chat with Jamie Lane during this because it was like my way of taking notes. But really interesting stuff. I think the aspect of loyalty, distribution, and of course curation was kind of their key to success. And I'll share the stats. Last year, she stated that they had 115,000 listings on the Homes and Villas platform, and now this year they have over 160,000. So really great growth. And Homes and Villas doesn't allow every operator to put their full portfolio on the platform. They like curate and pick what they like and what will fit the Bonvoy, kind of avatar or membership. So that was really cool to see the listing growth. But then 95% of their bookings of that inventory is Bonvoy members specifically. So to see that loyalty aspect and that like huge just like ability to tap into such a loyal network is incredible. Their ADRs are significant. And like, yes, they were averages. So obviously not every listing was getting this $500+ ADR, but on average across 160, that was a pretty good number to see that they were paying more, they were loyal, they're better guests. And then in the new AI features that Homes and Villas launched, and I know we get a lot of overhype with AI sometimes, but she showed a couple of samples of like what people would search and how it would curate on top of not only they have like their own curation collections where there's like a Zen retreat side or a family side, like they have a curated portfolio of all their listings. But the AI search was actually really cool. Like, I don't care when and where. I just want this, and that. And then it'd be like, okay, great, here you go. And it was actually fascinating to see how well it worked with their really in-depth like listing descriptions and ability to curate that portfolio. So
Yeah.
that's where I was just kind of blown away. So
that part really excites me that 95% was through their membership. The price point doesn't surprise me because they're most likely looking at it in points anyway. So they're not looking at it in dollars, and they've just got lots of points in their account from credit card spend or whatever. But what excites me equally as much as that is the opportunities that still lie in the industry with credit cards, like Capital One, Amex also getting into
loyalty
loyalty
programs.
loyalty play. If Marriott starts mentioning the homes and villas more and more on their earnings, then we know Hilton and Hyatt and IHG and Choice and Wyndham are all going to be coming back in. It's been a couple years since Wyndham sold to Vacasa. Maybe they've got a short-term rental strategy in mind again. Who knows? But if it's working great for Marriott, you should expect to see it from others soon.
Yeah, well, creating a brand in general, I think the Marriott has killed it with that. They've killed loyalty.
Yeah,
So I think like
so
the
far ahead of
learning
everybody else.
so far ahead. And it's like, I don't know, for me as an operator, I do look at like, we're not huge. I think I've shared this before, but we have those 70 homes plus 2 hotels. And for us, like, how can we get all of our guests to just like remember our name and just be like wanting to always come back and like curate everything and just really teach the team that. And really, and again, it's harder said than done, or it's harder done than said, I would say. I just think that's the challenge that we all have to face as operators, where if, obviously piggyback on the OTAs, get on platforms like Homes and Villas, do all these things to get that customer drive to your units and homes, but do as much as you can to really try to create your own brand and really stand out to hopefully create your own loyalty. I think that's the part that gets me excited. If you can create like a loyal group of followers that just love what you're doing, it could be really better for your benefit. Look at Nike shoes, right? Like, you're not buying $500 sneakers because of what they're made of. You're buying it for the swoosh. You're buying it for the brand. So
I'm buying $500 sneakers anywhere.
You will once you're rolling in the money, my brother.
We're trying to be like you, bro. We're trying to be like you.
Anyways, those are my thoughts. What do you guys got going this week before we wrap up this episode? Also, live viewers, let us know. Do you like this conversation? Did you not? What can we do for next week? All right. What do you guys got going this week?
I'm starting my European wedding tour. So I'm off to Spain on Tuesday night. So
Good Lord.
Yeah, I'm gonna be tan. But yeah,
Brady's
so you'll
like,
miss
"Care
me
about the
next
tan," and she's,
weekend
like, gonna
or
be
next
exhausted.
week, unfortunately. But there'll be a couple GMHs from Europe, just not next week. So.
There we go. Maybe, hey,
Not on
join
the
our
Europe
European crew. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Brady's like, "Oh yeah, we have a European crew. We love you guys.
No.
You guys are doing great."
Yeah.
Your episode goes live tomorrow for everyone listening. Michael, what about you? Anything exciting?
Thursday, Friday, taking the fam down to the beach. So I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna be so tan, you're not even gonna recognize me.
Yeah.
For all
that
those
nice crisp red.
For all those that are listening that don't know me, yeah, I have 2 colors, and it's the one you see now and then red, and then it goes back to the one you see now. So I had a tan line once in college. That was peak. But taking the family down to the beach, and so packing in as much work in the next 3 days as possible. It's a busy calendar.
I love that. You deserve it. Deserve some time away with the fam, having some fun in the sun. Sounds great. I'm on my way to my co-working space now, and I got a long week ahead of working, and nothing exciting to report on. Maybe a trip this weekend, but it's TBD. TBD. I told myself I wasn't going to travel, but something came up, and then
I know that lie. It's a fun lie to tell ourselves.
Well, you got wheels now too, so you're mobile.
I know I'm mobile, but it's like, all right, 9-hour drive or 45-minute flight. I'm probably gonna do the 45-minute flight.
Flight. Yeah, so yeah, anything greater than 6 hours is a flight.
I know. I'm like, I wish it was a 5-hour drive. But anyways, All good. Thank you guys for all the live viewers for tuning in. We appreciate you. As you know, Good Morning Hospitality Europe crew goes live Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Central. And then, of course, you have our hotel crew, Steve and Sarah, coming at you live on Wednesday. Same time as always, 7 a.m. PST, 10 a.m. EST, and anywhere you get your podcasts. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys all again next week.
Want to stop juggling spreadsheets, calendars, and a dozen apps just to run your rentals? Lodgify makes it easy. It's an all-in-one toolkit for hosts. Build a direct booking website, automate guest messaging, and keep all your channels in sync. Running your rental business your way has never been simpler. And for Good Morning Hospitality listeners, you can get 20% off any yearly plan with code GMH20. Just check the link in the show notes to get started today.